Julian, welcome to the Commerce Talks podcast. Today we are talking about last mile delivery. We had a couple of episodes where this was a topic already, and it becomes more and more important as the e-commerce share is growing. Please introduce yourself and tell us what Airmee is actually offering.
Yes, so thank you, and a pleasure to be on this podcast. So my name is Julian Lee. I'm the founder and CEO of Airmee. And Airmee is in essence a tech platform for e-commerce deliveries. So what we do is we integrate into the e-commerce checkout. So we're displayed as a shipping option on the checkout page. And once a consumer chooses us as their preferred shipping option, then we get that order through our API. And we go to the e-commerce warehouses, we pick it up, the parcel, and we take it to our sorting facilities where all these parcels are sorted into different routes. And once they've been sorted, the couriers arrive at our sorting facility, pick up the parcels that they're supposed to deliver, and deliver them according to the route that we set.
Okay, just to get a better understanding on how you're integrated in the delivery process, can you walk me through the customer journey of an Amazon order, for example? Because where do I see Airmee during the order process at Amazon, or do I see you at all?
Yeah, exactly. So we started working with Amazon actually last year. So as a consumer, once you place a product, you add a product to the cart and you go to the checkout, you will see us as a shipping option, right? You choose the shipping option if you want a home delivery, a collection point delivery, a locker delivery, and you will see us as an option. And once you choose us, that's when we get the order through the API integration that we have with Amazon.
Okay, let's wait for a minute here. So why would a customer choose you instead of the standard delivery?
Yeah. So we launched in Sweden in 2018, and the main reasons why we've been able to grow is one, speed, and two, quality. And with quality, I mean precision and transparency around the delivery, so the consumer can actually track our delivery in their mobile phone in real time and see exactly on the minute when their delivery will arrive. So it's a very seamless delivery experience.
So let's stick with this Amazon order. So I've chosen you as a delivery option in the checkout. Then this kind of product I've ordered at Amazon might be in Sweden already in an Amazon warehouse. What happens next?
So as I mentioned, through our API integration, we get all those orders. So since every day we know we're going to get orders, so we already have a vehicle, a truck scheduled to go to Amazon's warehouse and do a pickup each day. So that truck will pick up all those parcels that are ours and take it to the nearest sorting facility that we have. So we have multiple of sorting facilities spread out across Sweden and Denmark and Norway.
How many sorting facilities are we talking about?
We have 4 main ones in the largest cities, and then we have a handful of other ones in smaller cities. So we cover over 30 cities in Sweden right now.
So you need an Airmee truck from the Amazon warehouse to your sorting warehouse, and when it's like in the sorting warehouse and you have sorted the route, who's taking over then? Do you have delivery trucks and drivers who are driving the parcel to my home?
Yeah, exactly. So in our sorting facility, all these parcels, right, they're consolidated. So Amazon's parcels are consolidated with other e-commerce merchants that we have as customers. So they're all consolidated and sorted into the most efficient or optimal routes that have been decided by our algorithm. So the couriers, they arrive to our sorting facilities, and these couriers are not employed by us. They're employed by carriers that we've contracted. So we've contracted a number of carriers that perform these deliveries for us. So these couriers arrive to our sorting facilities and then pick up, could be anywhere from 50, 60 parcels to 100 parcels. they load them into their van, and then they start their delivery route. Yep.
How do I qualify as a courier? Could I just rent a van and register at Airmee and say, okay, I'd like to hand over parcels in the Stockholm area?
No, so in the Nordics, it's much more difficult, I would say, compared to other countries to deliver with a vehicle. You actually need to register a company, and you need to have, I think, 9,000 euro in assets, and then additional couple of thousand euros per vehicle that you own. So, and to get this certificate or permit from the government, you need to do a test and all that. So we don't have a gig platform, similar to Uber or these, quick commerce startups that can basically contract anyone. So we contract companies that actually have their own vehicles and employees.
Okay, got it. What I don't understand yet is, so I'm living in northern Germany. Here, Amazon is building warehouses, even like sorting warehouses. It feels like they're building like one warehouse per week in Germany, and they are employing like their own trucks, their own delivery fleet, and they have even this kind of gig economy approach. So you can just register for Amazon, and when they started this, it was kind of weird. So every day there was like another delivery driver one was even coming with a Mercedes S-Class, and I was wondering who is that. And he just unpacked Amazon parcels. Next day there was a very old Fiat entering my farm, another delivery driver. So why isn't that happening in Sweden? Because it sounds weird to me that there's even place for such a business.
Yeah, so the reason why you can't do that in Sweden is because of these regulations that we have, and I think part of that is to ensure fair working conditions, but also it might be part also to regulate competition somewhat. Yeah, you need to contract these carriers that need to have this permit.
Okay, that I understand. So, and then the customer is getting the parcel, and in case of a return, he also could choose Airmee, I guess.
Yes, exactly. So in our app, the consumer can actually click on return and schedule a return pickup, and then they usually place the parcel outside of their door, and we will come, or one of our couriers will come to that consumer or that customer and pick up the parcel and deliver it, take it back to our sorting facility, and from there on back to the merchant's warehouse.
And why? I guess there's an equivalent of DHL in Sweden, which is our main logistics company. Why isn't DHL doing the same thing? Because I guess they have delivery trucks and employees already.
Yes, I think, as we've see happening now, and we've seen it the past few years, the whole logistics industry is going from a, very slow moving B2B industry, a business to business industry, to becoming a very fast moving consumer oriented B2C industry. And this shift is very, the large legacy players have challenges in making this shift because consumers have completely different requirements and needs when it comes to delivery. So it's very difficult for them to provide a service that is consumer friendly. For example, our delivery usually happens between 5 and 10 p.m. So the time slot is pretty narrow. Usually, with the legacy providers, it's, within 2 days between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And you don't know when it's going to arrive. So it's this focus that we have on transparency and predictability and speed that creates a competitive advantage for us.
How many employees do you have already?
We have around 110 employees now. So most of those people are in tech, sales, support, and not so much or we don't have any couriers. in our as employees, right? Since we contract them.
Okay, okay, I got it. And do you see other logistics startups, let's say, appearing in the market? So I give you like one example. What we are seeing here, like in Berlin and Hamburg, lots of times. So we have now those ultra fast delivery grocery services. So you can order something at Flink or Gorilla, and getting it delivered within 15 to 30 minutes. And their long-term goal is actually to become logistics hubs, because earning money with such a service is rather hard. So they want to become a platform and offering this kind of logistics capacity, which eventually could be connected with an Airmee service, for example. Do you see similar things in Sweden already?
Yes, I mean, we have a Gorillas type copy, you could say, that started up in Sweden not so long ago. So you could say there's two different segments, right, in the whole e-commerce delivery segment. One is the quick commerce, 15, 30 minutes deliveries. And there we also have, companies like Delivery Hero that do deliveries from restaurants. And then you have the space that we are in, which is more same day, next day delivery, which is more distribution, right? It's larger amounts of parcels consolidated into large sorting facilities. But as you say, I definitely think that these two different segments will merge and consolidate within, I don't know when, but 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm. And are you profitable on an order basis?
Yes. So now we're actually completely, for the first time this year, became profitable on the whole delivery business. So, including all the costs for picking up the parcels, sorting them, our support and the deliveries, we are, so you could say excluding HQ headquarter costs, we are profitable now.
And how does this kind of business scale? Would you need, like in every area and every location you will expand? Would you need another sorting warehouse, or do you see a setup where other logistics providers are operating such sorting warehouses and you're only offering the platform?
I think our business model now is that we need to operate our own sorting facilities, although some of them are outsourced to some of the carriers we contract. But we need those sorting facilities because there's a lot of has to do with optimization on when they do the sorting and how they do the sorting as well, because they use our technology, right? When they do the sorting, all the parcels are scanned, and when you scan them, you see which route they should go into.
And in what countries do you see expansion potential? You've said already Denmark, Norway.
Yeah, so right now we launched in Denmark and Norway not so long ago, a few months ago, and we're looking at the other Nordic countries, which is Finland. So the next, I would say, 12 months, we're kind of doubling down on the Nordics and continuing to establish ourselves here.
Do you see expansion space in more crowded countries like Germany or Netherlands?
Yes, I think, there are, I would say globally, there are opportunities in this space because there aren't that many startups in this space when it comes to, e-commerce, same day, next day deliveries. I think part of that is just, it's very difficult to start, right? Because it's kind of an industrial space you're in. You need these sorting facilities, you need large volumes to not have a high burn rate. So there aren't that much competition right now in this space. So
what we are seeing, and what I'm definitely seeing, is that the new grocery delivery services like Picnic in Netherlands or Knusper, part of the Rolle Group in southern Germany, they are essentially logistic companies. So they're offering a service, order now, and within like 3 hours you're getting your groceries, your eggs, your milk, whatever you want. Picnic is offering a next day delivery. And what are they doing different to Edeka, Rewe and others? So they control the whole logistics process. They have their own trucks, their own delivery drivers, highly automated warehouses. Picnic announced yesterday to build a new one for 150 million euros with a very, very high automation degree. So is this an area where you see expansion potential and say, okay, there might be a demand in Denmark for daily grocery delivers, and that is something you can easily operate because you have this warehouse already and you have the logistics and you know how to collect milk and all the other stuff from the providers. Could that be an area to expand?
Yes, we actually have a service called Airmee Fresh that we launched last year. So we're doing deliveries for companies like HelloFresh and other types of retailers that basically sell groceries that need to be delivered with refrigerated vehicles. So that's a service we launched. So, but we haven't, and I don't think we'll enter the space where we will do fulfillment. Because it's a different space, I think, as you mentioned. There are certain technologies and hardware that you need as such as automation, fulfillment centers that are quite advanced. So, but we'll see. It might be something in the future, but right now we're not focused on warehousing and fulfillment.
Okay, then let's talk about the last mile a bit, because that seems to be a very tough nut to crack in many markets. It's a very costly process, and it's in the last mile process from DHL or Hermes in Germany had a very hard time keeping up with the e-commerce growth. Do you see the market develop in a direction where kind of a last mile offering could be, okay, we deliver it here to our Airmee boxes, and then it's like €2 less or 10 crowns less in Sweden, because it's much cheaper for you just to fill up like a new delivery box with like 100, 200 parcels, or like a delivery container, a bit more something more innovative? Or do you see an even more granular delivery approach where like really every household welcomes an Airmee truck every day or an DHL truck every day, which is like, especially in this very dense city areas, seems to be a very hard problem to solve?
Yeah. I think the last mile delivery, the first big problem or the first thing you need to solve as a startup or any company is you need volume, right? You need density of these delivery stops to make the economics work. And second, what's happened in countries, so just to take a step back, so the Nordic countries are very different from, I would say, any market elsewhere in the world, because in the Nordics, home delivery is a fairly new concept. So we haven't had the problem or the challenges that London or Paris or New York might have faced, where there's too many trucks, there's just too many parcels that are supposed to go to each home every day,
What is the standard then when it is not home delivery?
Yeah, it's been the main method of delivery has been collection points. So since the state-owned PostNord had a very dominant position similar to DHL in Germany, the main method of delivery and the most cost-efficient way, I think also partly because of this, the topography of Sweden, which it's a very low density country in terms of population. So the most efficient way for them to deliver has been through these collection points, where you basically drop off 100, 200 parcels at a grocery store, and then the consumer goes to that store and picks up their parcel. So this is now all changing with home delivery coming in as a new concept, offered by startups like us. And there's also lockers that have entered the space. So I think the last mile delivery space or the service will be more and more fragmented as volumes increase and consumers demand more and more convenience.
Okay, so even in the furthest parts of Sweden, I can have now my home delivery from Amazon. Or are there still places where this doesn't make any sense and you have to go with the collection point?
Yeah, I would still in Sweden, in very rural areas, it's still difficult to get a home delivery.
Oh, okay.
service.
And do you see a higher automation degree of these collection points? What we are seeing with DHL boxes and Amazon delivery lockers in Germany, in many places. I think it's also very popular in the US. So I'm Eastern German background, and there was no home delivery. We also always had this kind of lockers in the village, and then you get like a postal card within your mail, and with a key to the locker where the parcel was in. So and I see tremendous potential like for higher automation lockers where you're not bound to the opening times of the grocery store for example, where we're putting this kind of parcels. And it seems to be like a whole new logistic area where many startups have placed. But do you see something there? Because then Sweden seems to be the perfect place for reinventing this automated locker thing, because people are used to it already.
Yes, and you're exactly right. We've seen that trend with more automated collection points, basically, so which is lockers placed inside these stores. So you could say it's a digitalized form of collection points. So what's happening now, though, but with these lockers, you still need to be aware of the opening hours of these stores, because you can't access these lockers otherwise. But what's happening now is there's several companies now opening up or building these lockers and placing them outdoors in residential neighborhoods. These are open networks. So they're not a logistics provider. They just provide these lockers, and so anyone can, use these lockers. So as a logistics company would pay this company every time we put a parcel in one of these lockers. So, and the concept here is that these lockers are a new version, right? An upgraded version, because you have access to these 24/7, and they're placed in residential neighborhoods. So with time, you're gonna have closer to these lockers than going to the store.
And how, from a customer journey perspective, so how would I experience it as a customer? Would you offer me Airmee home delivery, let's say $5, Airmee locker delivery, whoever operates the locker, €4 because it's cheaper for you and therefore cheaper for the customer, or Airmee next day locker delivery like €3, because that is something which we are still missing, and I don't get it why Amazon is always like offering this Prime setup. I don't need most of the products next day. I'm totally fine like saving €1 or €2 or €3 per delivery, and then they can all come on Friday, because actually I only have time on the weekend to unpack and play around with the stuff I'm ordering. So is this something where you can differentiate a bit?
Yeah, exactly. So we're launching collection point service, as I mentioned, and also a locker service. So these services will be visible and displayed in the checkout option, just as our home delivery option. And you will have a same day or next day delivery option. And I think to answer also your question, why Amazon is pushing the Prime and speed is because, I mean, I think they probably spent billions of dollars realizing that to get more market share, you need to push down the delivery time, right? Because they have 50% of the e-commerce market, but of the total retail market, they only have a few percent, right? So, but if they see that, if they can provide a service where you can have basically everything you want delivered to you within a couple of hours, then they're going to grab more and more market share from the total retail space and convert more consumers to become, online consumers rather than physical retail consumers.
Are you saying that Amazon has 50% market share in Sweden already?
No, in the US.
Okay. I would have been very surprised. Okay.
No, they're just starting. So, but I think that like speed is a very important factor and we see that with quick commerce, right? Once a consumer gets used to a certain speed, it's difficult to go back to how it used to be.
Yeah, I got it. Aren't you afraid that bigger logistics company like the old incumbents you're talking about, or even Amazon, will take over your part of the business? Because today the first touch point with the customers in the checkout cart with the e-commerce player. So you're easily replaceable, or the e-commerce player can say, okay, I don't need Airmee anymore. There's a cheaper service, or there's I'm offering now the same service on my own. Aren't you afraid of this kind of effect?
I think it's very difficult for these large logistics companies to provide the quality and the speed and the reliability of the service that we are providing now. But I think they will get there. But it's a process of digitalizing and automating a lot of the processes they have now. I mean, they have the disadvantage of not, of they started their company when, technology wasn't where it is now. But I think also once they get to where we are, we're also going to be much further. I mean, we're not in an end state. We're continuously, refining and developing our services and products.
Yeah, so I totally understand that. So at the same time, I'm looking on your website and I see like a mock-up of your Airmee app, which I guess is something your customers are playing around with. So because they want to see where is my parcel when it's coming, I'd like to reroute it. So do you chances to upgrade your business model into more services that you have like the first touch point with the customer? You just said it like for returns. So the more first touch points you can generate with the customers, the harder it is actually for your competition to get you out of this relationship.
Yes, exactly. So we have a lot of ideas and plans to kind of get even closer to the consumer. So we kind of seen that with a lot of the payment companies. I mean, the Swedish company Klarna, you've seen them also make this journey from being a pure B2B payment company to becoming almost a pure consumer company, right? So I think the logistics company of the future will also be much closer and have a closer relationship and a tighter relationship with the end consumer.
Yeah. Okay, what kind of services apart from return might that be for a company like you?
I think besides deliveries in general, to home, lockers, collection point, returns, it could be, working with e-commerce merchants on different offerings to these consumers. It could be content of some sort. So I think there are many different ways here to offer consumers an added value.
Yeah. Do you see something like, let's say there is an Amazon return. I've ordered a headset or so, let's say $50. And then the customer is saying, I don't want this headset anymore. And Amazon, instead of having it shipped back to their logistics center, unpack it, relabel it, offer it again, they could put out like a special offer. This kind of headset now 50% off, because it's cheaper for them to just sell it in the area where the headset is, and you can control it because you just take the headset from customer A and then it's sold with a 50% discount to customer B. Do you see stuff like this will be possible in the future? Because right now it feels like there's like a lot of gray boxes, like shipped from A to B, and there's a lot of potential not yet leveraged because of the very old processes.
Yeah, no, you're right. And I think you see I think we're still very early on in that journey when it comes to the e-commerce and delivery experience. As you say, there are many different cases like this where you can optimize the whole experience and make it also more sustainable and cost efficient in terms of delivery and returns and all that. So I think the blocker right now is basically data and technology. This requires very good integrations and deep integrations between the logistics providers and the e-commerce merchants, and knowing which item is where, the whole payment, how that should be handled and all that. So I think as e-commerce merchants and both logistics companies have more data, have better technology, there are many more flexible solutions and many more ways of delivering, whether it's to people, in buses or to trunks, car trunks that have been, there's been some tests with that as well. So,
okay. Though, as you're talking about like tests in car trunks, are there things that happened, though you've seen in the last years in the logistics sector that did not work out, where you say, okay, nice idea, but actually a bad idea when we see it in real life?
Well, I think there are some things that haven't really scaled, and ones is, of course, as I mentioned, deliveries to trunks, but also deliveries straight into the grocery or the refrigerator for groceries. I mean, it's there, but it hasn't really scaled, and it has to do with also the locks and all that, the door security and all that, and of course, drones have been, a topic for a few years now.
Remote rural areas in Sweden, that must be like drone case number one. So Sweden must have been like the test market for it.
Yeah. But also another, I think the technology isn't there yet. And the whole, I think a lot of these possibilities are also dependent on the e-commerce merchant having very efficient fulfillment, knowing which item should go where, and being able to like break that out in the fulfillment.
Okay, got it. It's a super interesting market to be honest. Very sad that we cannot experience anytime soon in the northern German market. We have to stick with Amazon and DHL for the time being. But definitely we'll look into that next time when I'm visiting Stockholm. So congratulations achieving where you are, and I hope you will have like a very successful expansion year 2022, and speak to you soon.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Bye.